The Blue Angel from 1930 was a surprising film for me. It stars Marlene Dietrich and Emil Jannings. Jannings plays a college professor who is uptight at first, but then has a awakening or revelation, let's say, when he sees Dietrich's character Lola at a burlesque house. This movie was produced in the Weimar Republic, and although they're not referred to this way, this really reminded me of what we would call in the United States a pre-code film. Although the quote-unquote code that was enforced after the Weimar Republic was quite different from what we had here. Like many of our pre-code films, however, this is a bit of a morality tale if you dig deep enough. It is one of the most tragic downfalls I've ever seen in a movie. I don't think I've ever seen the level of humiliation that our professor goes through in a movie before. I found this movie to be not only a fascinating piece of history, but also incredibly engaging, and I can see why it's known as a classic. At times it's very funny, and there are also a few musical numbers, but in the end, it is one of the most brutally tragic films, at least for one of our characters, that I have seen. It was especially fascinating watching this movie in comparison to our next film. Gold from 1934 stars Hans Albers and Brigitte Helm in a science fiction movie that many people compare to Metropolis. And though this movie was made by the same studio, UFA, as The Blue Angel, it was produced after the National Socialists took power in Germany. As a result, it is a very different film with very different themes. The story centers around our main character who is working on a device that will turn lead into gold. When the device is sabotaged, it explodes and kills his co-worker, and he is quickly recruited by a competitor who we know was behind the sabotage. After watching Metropolis more than once in the past couple weeks, I really wanted to see more of Brigitte Helm, and she basically plays the bad guy's daughter in this movie who befriends our main character. And it was interesting to see her in a speaking role compared to Metropolis, which is a silent film. After watching her performances, she's quickly becoming one of my favorite actresses. I think she is stunningly beautiful in both movies, and I think it would be interesting to see an alternate history where she gained success in America like Marlene Dietrich did. The themes in this movie in historical context are quite interesting, especially compared to our previous film, which was a piece of Weimar cinema. One of the contributing factors to the fall of the Weimar Republic was hyperinflation. And I think we all know what inflation is at this point. Hyperinflation is when the money supply inflates so much that it's essentially worthless. It's very easy to see why sound money was a central theme in a film that was produced after the change of government, but before the National Socialists seized UFA Studios completely. In general, I thought this movie was very good. I did like the science fiction elements. I liked the corporate espionage elements of it. Of course, Brigitte Helm is just stunning in every single shot that she's in. And I think the central theme and the moral of the story is a good one. I did feel like the movie was a little slow moving in the beginning, but as things move on, it does get a little snappier. And while I can see more than a few comparisons to Metropolis, and I agree with the assessment that Gold is not as good of a film, I do believe it's an unfair comparison that is only used because there were so few science fiction films produced during the National Socialist era. Both this movie and The Blue Angel can be found on YouTube if you would like to check out these movies yourself. But for now, let's leave pre-war Germany and visit post-war Soviet Union. Beanpole from 2019 is a historical drama based in Leningrad within a year of World War II ending. The story centers on two nurses who are also veteran anti-air gunners who work at a hospital for wounded soldiers. When a tragedy threatens to come between these two women, a scheme develops between them that will threaten their love and friendship for each other. This movie is exceptional, and I don't want to talk too much about the plot because I don't want to spoil anything. This is the kind of movie that you should really enjoy yourself, but I will warn you, it's very bleak, sad, and tragic. This film explores a time and place that I feel are rarely represented, at least in movies that are accessible to me in the United States. And I found it to be incredibly immersive. The entire cast is excellent, especially the two lead actresses. But again, just be warned, this is not a good time, and it's also a very slowly paced, slow burn kind of movie. I definitely want to watch this one again because of what the filmmakers did with their use of color. The colors of red and green specifically are highly significant to the characters and story. I will note that when I was watching the trailer, whose footage you are seeing now, that like most trailers, it does not do an effective job of giving you the actual tone of this movie. I thought the trailer made it look like a quirky Darren Aronofsky movie with a little bit of a dark edge to it, but that's definitely not what it is. Beanpole is tragic, sad, brutal, but also beautiful. I've seen it described as misery porn, but I disagree with that assessment. Though the signs of hope may be faint for the characters in this movie, they are there. If you want a unique look at a time and place just after World War II, I highly recommend Beanpole. And that's going to do it for this one. If you like these short reviews I do, there's a whole playlist of them on my channel. I'm a real human being and I just talk off the top of my head. Thank you for watching to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.